Hello everyone. In this video we will learn about what is a union, how to declare it and how to access members of a union and what are the differences between a structure and a union. In the previous video we have seen what is a structure and how to declare it. So we have declared a structure like this. We have defined a structure. So struct and name of the structure needs to be given, and then we need to give whatever parameters or whatever variables we are giving here, like int roll number, float average, and then character grade, something like this. This is a user defined data type structure which we have defined in our previous previous example. If you have not yet watched the structures video, make sure you watch it, because we are going to completely compare unions with structures only. So if you have not understood structures, you won't be able to understand unions. So link to that video is getting displayed right now in the top of the screen. So you can go to structure video first, watch it completely before watching this. So when we declare a student data type like this, here user defined data type, the total number of bytes allotted will be equal to, so memory allotted will be equal to sum of all the variables. Sum of all variables will be the memory allotted. So in this case here, this requires 2 bytes, this requires 4 bytes, and this requires 1 byte. So total memory here, total memory allotted is going to be 2 plus 4, 6 plus 1, 7 bytes. 7 bytes of memory is required for this example structure student that I have declared here. This is a user defined data type and I can redefine this as per my requirement for the program. So in this program, suppose I want only these 3 variables, I have defined the structure student of this type. Now 7 bytes is the size of this data type. Whenever we declare a variable, every variable will have 7 bytes of memory allotted, in which the first 2 bytes is for roll number, next 4 bytes is for average, and next 1 byte is for grade. Now in every 7 bytes, that is in every variable, memory will be allotted for each of the members of this structure. So that is how we have defined structure, and we have seen how to access members of the structure and all that. Now what is a union? It is very similar to structure. Okay, union is similar to structure. So there are only minute differences. We will see what they are. Union is similar to structure. Union is a user defined data type. So we are going to define this data type and then we will declare variables for this. And we will use union keyword. So instead of struct, we will use union keyword here for declaring the data type. So instead of struct keyword, I am going to use union keyword. So if I use union, it is going to become a union data type instead of structure data type. So in case of union data type, so what is the difference is memory allotted. Memory allotted is sufficient for holding the largest variable. Here largest variable is this float average, which requires 4 bytes. So in this case memory allotted, so if it is a structure memory is sum of all the variables. If it's a union, then memory allotted is equal to size of the largest variable. Okay, size of largest variable. See, it is not largest data type, it is largest variable. Meaning, suppose here I have int roll number. Suppose I have name here along with roll number. Suppose I have marks for 5 students. Then this will require 10 bytes, right? So this is going to require 10 bytes. In that case, memory allotted will be 10 bytes for a union variable. So basically it is the memory of the largest variable, not of the largest data type. So here I have only 3 variables. In this 3 variables, largest memory is for average. Suppose here I have name or something with 10 letters. Then this will require 10 bytes. In that case, largest variable will be name. So memory allotted will be 10 bytes for a union variable. So memory allotted is sufficient for storing largest variable. And how are we going to access the members? In structure, memory is allotted for each and every variable, whereas in union, memory is shared. In union, memory is shared by all the variables. Then how are the values stored? The values can be stored only for one variable at a time. So this shared memory is available for only one variable at any given time. So if you are trying to store value for another variable, then previously stored value will be lost. So this is extremely useful technique to save memory. Whenever we have an array of structures, say we have details of 100 students, and for that we have declared a structure and we have stored all the details of a student like name, roll number, age, or marks of 5 different subjects, sum of all the marks, total, average, grade, all these things are stored for a structure, that is for every student. Now I have to do some comparisons or some copying from one structure to another structure. In such cases, instead of creating another structure array, we can use unions. So when we are using unions, for every variable, for every union variable, the memory allotted will be only equal to this largest variable of that union. Therefore, lot of memory can be saved here, and whichever variable we want to access, we can access it, because at once we can have only one value. Say if you are handling files, okay, if you are storing all this data into files, then also you don't have to create a structure in the program. Instead, create union. Take one value at a time from the user, immediately write it onto the file. So you don't have to store it in a structure variable and then copy it into the file. If your objective is to just transfer the data, then there is no need to store memory, there is no need to allocate memory for all the variables. Instead, you allocate sufficient memory so that every variable will be accessing that memory at any given time. Okay, so all the variables can be accessed, but nothing will be stored. If you give value for one variable, later if you give value for another variable, then previous variable's value will be lost. That is what you need to keep in mind. So memory is available for only one variable at a given point of time. You can access all the variables, but not all at once. At once you can access only one variable. So this is how we declare a union, and variables for union can be declared same as structure. So union student is going to be the name of the data type. You can give u1, u2, you can even declare an array. All that is similar to a structure. So we will see now with a sample program how to declare and access members of a union and how it is different from structure. I will create the program with the name uniondemo.c. Demonstration of union data type. Now I'll declare one simple structure and then I'll modify it to union. So I'll give struct test. Test is the name of the structure. I'll give int x or int age, okay, and then I'll give float cost, something like this, int quantity and float cost. Okay, now here I will create a main program. I will first create a structure variable struct test t1. Now I'll ask the user to enter quantity and cost of the item. Now user enters this %d and %f ampersand t1 dot quantity comma ampersand t1 dot cost. Now I have taken both the inputs in the same instruction, same scanf statement, and when the user enters two values, first value is stored in quantity, second value is stored in cost. Now this is possible because, as you know, for a structure variable, memory is allotted for each and every member of the structure. Now here I have two members. For both the members, memory is allotted. Now I am going to print the details. The details entered are quantity equals to %d/t, cost equals to rupees %.2f/n. Now here this is T1 dot quantity and T1 dot cost. Now I have entered both this data. I have taken the input and I am displaying it. Now let me execute this program. So it asks enter the quantity and cost of the item. I'll give quantity as 10 and cost I will give it as 50 rupees. Now see, details entered are quantity is equal to 10, cost is equal to rupees 50. So now for both the variables, memory was allotted separately. Both the members of the structure, memory was allotted separately, and in those respective memories, values were stored. Suppose I will make it as a union now. Instead of struct keyword, I will give union, and here also while declaring I have to give union. Now see what happens. If you take both the values at the same time, then you cannot display at the same time, because first you are reading one value and that value is stored in quantity. So that memory is now handled by accessed by the variable quantity. Next, when you are storing the value cost, quantity's value is lost. So at a time it cannot be shared by multiple variables. The shared memory can be accessed only by one variable. Initially it was by quantity. Now when you are storing cost, quantity is lost. Now if you are trying to display the values, since now the latest value stored in that shared memory is cost, for cost you will get the correct output. For quantity, depending on the compiler, either you might get some junk value or you might get 0. Now let us execute this union program. Same values I'll enter 10 and 50. See, details entered are quantity I am getting some junk value, whereas cost I am getting correct value. It is because quantity was taken, the 10 value it was taken, it was stored in quantity. But then when cost is stored, the value that is there in quantity, that is replaced by cost. And also the memory is now handled by cost, not by quantity. Quantity is not accessible. So whichever variable was the latest one to be initialized, you can access only that. Then what is the purpose of this unions is, instead of giving both at the same time, give at once. Enter quantity and read only quantity. Don't read cost. So read only one value. Display that. Quantity is equal to %d/n. And here remove this. Here also cost we will remove. So basically it has two variables, but you know it can access only one value at a time. So I have asked the user to enter quantity, it is stored, and I am immediately displaying it. Now I will ask the user to enter cost. Either use display it or you can store it in some other variable. Anything is fine, but here I am just displaying. Enter cost. Now I'll read cost separately. So %f ampersand T1 dot cost. Now we will display cost of the item is equal to rupees %.2f/n. Here I will write T1 dot cost. So you can only access it one at a time. So now I'll give 10 Immediately I should display the value. Quantity is 10. Then I'll give 50. Cost of the item is rupees 50. So basically you can access only one variable at a time, and then once you read the value of the variable, either you want to display it or you want to store that details into some other variable, whatever that needs to be done before you read the next value. If once you read the second value, first value is lost forever. You can again access quantity, but again you have to store quantity. Say for example, now you can again ask the user to enter quantity, then you can store that in t1.quantity. Right now in that case, that particular variable which is having access for the shared memory will be quantity. Whichever the latest variable you have stored value, that variable will be accessible. And for this variable you need not give value only through scanf statement. You can even give through some calculations. You can assign value using static initialization, whatever it is. Whichever variable was initialized in the latest, in the end, that is the one which is accessible. Once you access some other variable and assign some value to it, all the previously assigned values are lost. So this can be used like a temporary place wherein you don't want, you're going to access only one item at a time. You don't want to allot too much memory like a structure. You're going to just use it like a temporary placeholder to store only certain values. Then this is a great choice for saving lot of memory. That is about unions. And unions, you should always know, when we are learning unions, you should always know the differences between unions and structures. Make sure to join our Telegram channel. Link to that is mentioned in the description. You'll be getting a lot of notes and placement content, internship details and all that in the Telegram channel. In our next video, I am going to explain about how these array structures can be used as function parameters followed by pointers. See you in the next video. Bye bye.